Overcoming obstacles is the theme for this week's episode of The American Outdoorsman. We'll follow world-renowned taxidermist Callie Morris and his wife Annetta on an adventure to British Columbia they'll never forget. Annetta's 2-year pursuit of a stone sheep reaches its peak, literally, and her attempt to take a BC mountain goat becomes secondary when a dangerous fall leaves the camp wondering if the hunt will continue. Watch how this story unfolds, coming up next on The American Outdoorsman.
Preparation for mountain hunting is very, very important. If you don't prepare properly, you're not going to enjoy your hunt. You have to hit the gym, you got to lift the weights. You got to run the stairs, you got to run down the road, and anything is better than nothing. If you think you're going to sit on the couch and make it up the mountain, you're mistaken. It's not going to happen. I tell you, if you don't like flying, BC's not for you. Getting to BC is a long journey.
It took us pretty much all day from the time we left Kansas City to get to Danadini's. By the time we had all of our flights and connections, and then we had to go through customs. It was a long day of flying.
The worst part about going to northern BC is the flight. It takes a long time to get there, but when we finally arrived, Dan's smiling face there made everything worthwhile. Next morning, after we got all the trucks loaded, we were ready to go to Stone Mountain. We hopped in the truck, away we went. Another 6-hour ride just to get to Stone Mountain Safaris. Well, we're in Fort Nelson, British Columbia. We got about 2.5 hours left to the ranch. We're going to stop and get us a little lunch. Getting a little bit excited seeing all these mountains. Caribou on the road, saw beautiful mountain peaks, snow, winding mountain roads, low moose country. It's an amazing experience just to get to drive through it. Well, we're getting close. Little fuel stop here. Getting close now. Got another couple miles and we'll be at the lodge. Well, after 6 hours of being in the truck and seeing all that beautiful scenery, we finally pulled into Stone Mountain Safaris Lodge. Long driveway, beautiful. We come through the trees, boom. There it is. I've seen it 5 or 6 times, and every time I come around that corner, I see that lodge. It's just breathtaking. Well, we're getting ready to shoot our rifles. We're just outside the Stone Mountain Lodge here, and we got a 100-yard range. Everybody that comes has to shoot their rifles before they go into the mountains. Very nice setup here. We got exactly 100 yards. We got all the gear we need. We got our earmuffs, we got our sandbag. We got Kyle here on the spotting scope ready. So let's see how we can do. Now what I do when I come up here is I shoot a Swarovski scope, and it's got several crosshairs inside. So for each crosshair, I wrote the yardage on the butt of my gun. So anytime I shoot an animal with the rangefinder, I just look down here and it tells me which bar to use. So I'm going to shoot the main crosshair right on. My first bullet was here, my second bullet was here, and then my third and fourth were right there. So I got a little bit more relaxed, sighting right through the scope, not flinching, holding my eyes open, making sure and watch the bullet hit the paper. That's how I always shoot the best. Well, that night we got everything out. We got all the pack boxes in there. Deanie is a master packer when it comes to getting your groceries ready for the hunt. Deanie didn't accompany us this time, but she was there, made sure that we had all the food and that everything we needed for our hunt. Well, finally the next morning comes. We roll out of bed bright and early, get our clothes on, have breakfast. Everybody's all excited. Start loading all the pack boxes in the truck, back the trailer down to the corral. It's time to load the horses. We're hunting today at Stone Mountain Safaris. We got all of our horses. We got them caught. A little frost in the air, a little snow on the mountains, butterflies in my stomach. We're gonna have a good hunt. We got 28 days to go out there and get us a couple rams. Annetta's excited. Everybody's got the jitterbug going, so you can see the beautiful mountains there. We're gonna have a good hunt. We're gonna load these horses up. Come on. The trailhead's a big deal because that's when you load everything on, you get on the horses, and you're heading for your base camp. When you finally get to where you're going, you're at the base camp. Dan stops, he looks back at you and he says, "We're here. Unload, tie your horses up. It's time to set up camp." 5 a.m. I hear Dan hollering at me out of the next tent. Caleb's already up getting the horses. Dan's cooking breakfast. Me and Annetta get our gear ready, go make our lunches, eat breakfast. Finally, we're on the horses. We're sheep hunting. We're looking for our first ram of the day. Where at?
The goal when you're sheep hunting is to head into a basin and run into some rams. Sometimes that can happen right off when you just start into the basin. It's happened to us several times. And other times you may work your way all the way to the back to find out there was nothing there. I don't know what happened to me this day. I'm walking along, everything seems normal. I mean, this is my, sixth sheep hunt? And I step on the wrong rock and the wrong spot, and I fell on a huge boulder beside the little rock I slipped on. Cracked my head up against the rock, and all I remember is just trying to stay to and not pass out.
We got about 2 hours on up the mountain and realized that we thought Annetta probably had a concussion. She was getting real sleepy. So off the mountain we came, got us some good supper, got a good night's sleep, regrouped, got ready for the next day. Want some coffee? Yep. After we evaluated Annetta and she felt like she could go, off again. She was ready to get her ram. She was bound determined she was going to get her ram. But what happened? We ran into a big goat. Well, we're back on the trail. We're hunting. It's day 4. We rode about 3 hours. We saw some great country, saw a lot of animals. We started hiking into the sheep basin right off the bat. What do we come to? Big fat goat right down low. But with sheep hunting, you can't shoot any other animal until you make it to the back of the basin, because if you pull the trigger, there's a chance you're going to scare a big sheep off, and you don't want to do that. You're there to kill a big ram.
We hiked to the back of the basin after passing up a goat that was right along the trail. And we get to the back of the basin, it just happened to be a dry basin. So then you're asking yourself, what did we do?
After about an hour and a half track up through rocks and rivers and canyon, we get to the end, no rams. So we take a few pictures, always have a good photo op at the end of every basin. We're on our way back.
So we headed back to the horses a little disappointed, and I can't believe it, but there was a different goat in almost the exact same spot on the way to the horses. This time we decided we were going to take him. I don't know why. Maybe it's the fact that I didn't grow up hunting and I haven't really shot guns that much. I love to hunt, but I still can't get past the point that when it's time to take a shot, I get so nervous. I can hardly breathe, and I have to really work at getting my emotions under control.
I look over at Annetta. I said, Annetta, get ready. You're going to shoot this goat.
Dan said that's a big one. It's as big as the one I killed last year. So he thinks we ought to shoot it. It's really big. Big goat right there.
At that point in time, I always get really nervous for Annetta because I know she's nervous and I can see it in her eyes. And being a husband, taking your wife on a goat hunt is very, very challenging because the mountains are so difficult.
At this point, I'm down on my pack, I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to get this guy.
Okay. Just get her comfortable. Dan wants you to shoot him right in the shoulder, okay? Wait, don't shoot until you tell me. Okay? Are you comfortable? I can't get to the trigger. Well, move it so you can. Don't shoot until you tell me. You ready? Okay, go to the goat. Tell me when you're ready. Ready? Okay.
Boom, the gun goes off, the goat hits the ground, everybody's excited. We're like, finally, we got our first animal on the ground.
.5:30, she killed her goat. We gotta get over there, take pictures and skin it. Get back to camp.
I knew I was gonna get something here today.
Finally, the goat's clear on the other side of the ravine. We get all of our gear on, put away. We start down, we're back up the other side. We finally get to the goat. Annetta gets her hands on the goat. It is so exciting seeing her with her giant goat.
Well, we're up to my goat. As you can see, our guide made it here quite a bit ahead of us, and he's already up there looking for something else. We've been sheep hunting all day. This goat was just too good to pass up. So let's take a look at him.
Wait, tell them about your face.
Oh, well, it happened a few days ago, but I fell on a rock, slipped on a rock and fell on a rock. So
Let's have a look.
it's a real beauty.
Let's see them. We'll pull his horns up. Let's see.
This is a nice goat. I've actually killed one other goat, and it was a good one too, but this guy's a beauty. His horns are really long, but you know what? When you're up here hunting in the mountains, sometimes it doesn't even matter about size, it's about the experience. And we had a great day, and this was a great way to finish off a great day. We took some great pictures, and the guys skin the goat. And at that point, what you have to do is pretty much skin him out, get your packs situated around so you can carry out the meat, carry out the goat, get back to the horses, and try and get back to camp. That night was a late night.
Well, the next day after you harvest an animal is always a rest and relaxation day. All you got to do is sleep in, eat a lot of food, rest your feet, and get the skin underneath salt so that you don't lose your hair. Now this is a good day of relaxation. That's a good solid dressing.
So we've hunted a few of the basins from base camp, and now we've decided we have great weather, and it's a good opportunity to ride up about 3 hours and set up a spike camp and hunt out of a spike camp.
Making them all even, taking when we need to go for the next few days, putting stuff away so nothing can get wrecked when we're gone. That's pretty much it.
The great thing about setting up a spike camp is you can actually hunt some new basins and you don't have the long trip back to the base camp. So we ride up to the base of this basin and we start climbing in, and it is the most beautiful day. And every day I tell myself, this is my day. This is a gorgeous day for pictures and I'm going to get my ram today.
We ran into some smaller rams, not big enough, got us all excited, kept going. All of a sudden around the corner comes a monster snowstorm. Well, finally, we get into a band of big rams. It was a great day when we started, but guess what? It started snowing and started blowing. And when we finally got into the rams, it was so bad that we couldn't even video it.
We get up to a point where Dan can actually crawl up and glass them. And at this point, all I'm doing is trying to stay warm. So we have to go down a canyon, back up the next mountain, and we're climbing up after him, trudge through the snow.
Finally, we get ourselves in place. The ram stands up. Boom, Annetta makes the shot, 351 yards. Let me tell you, one of the best days of my life when I watched that ram roll down that hill.
Well, it's been about 15 minutes ago that I just shot my stone sheep. We didn't capture any of the day on film today. It's been snowing like crazy. And it was just one of those days where videoing just doesn't always work, and this was one of them. Here's worth waiting for.
My God, Annetta.
Look at them things.
Well, I passed stuff one last year, and Callie thought I was crazy. And by the end of the season, I kind of a little bit wondered if I was, but I'm only going to shoot one. And then I've already passed one up this hunt, but he was worth waiting for.
Look at that bad boy. Huh?
Isn't he a beaut? After 30 days of hunting in the mountains for a stone sheep, I felt like that this guy was well deserved. I really want to thank Dan and Deanie Leonard and Kyle and Laura and Stone Mountain Safaris for an awesome hunt.
To walk up to a ram of that magnitude after hunting as many years as I have, just seeing that animal laying on the ground, I was happy just to be part of that experience. Dan Leonard is a mountain man from the word go. He knows everything about horses, shoeing, saddling, packing, setting up camps, making sure you're not in a bad grizzly bear country, climbing rock cliffs. Without Dan Leonard, mountain hunting would not be the same. He'd keep you safe. He makes it a lot of fun. I like to learn the animals we're hunting. I like to learn a lot about them. Dan taught me everything I needed to know about aging rams. When you go to BC to sheep hunt, you have to learn to age the rams. And looking through a spotting scope at 300 yards in the sun, trying to count the growth rings on a stone sheep is very hard. Dan Leonard has done it so long, he can look at them instantly and tell you how old they are. I tell you, I've been very fortunate to meet Dan Leonard and his family. Triathlon of the world, trying to keep up with him on the mountain has been very, very good for me mentally. Dan and Deanie are great people. We met them on our first sheep hunt in BC at Stone Mountain Safaris. Got to know them over a 30-day period and been great friends. We consider them family now.
I didn't just harvest a stone sheep. I actually harvested a ram of a lifetime. And I am so fortunate to be able to go to northern BC and actually be able to experience the experiences I've had and hunt the hunt I've had with Stone Mountain Safaris and spending my time with Dan and Deanie Leonard and Kyle and Laura. And I thank God every day for being able to go and do the things that I get to do and the places that I get to go.
For more information on today's program, you can visit us on the web at www.theamericanoutdoorsman.com.